All right, guys, make a quick crypto video here. Bitcoin at 111,164. We're down like 110 like 20 minutes ago, last time I checked. Definitely down from last week. Last week we were at like 115, 116. Your altcoins getting hit pretty hard. Ethereum under $4,000 again. Everybody's freaking out. All your altcoins are down like 8%, 4%. We'll just go down the list. It's a bloodbath, but nothing that we haven't seen before. Why is Bitcoin dumping today? Nobody knows exactly why. I saw the stock market is down today, so that's not helping the situation. Possible government shutdown, that could also be affecting risk assets. I saw job claims were down today, or down as in there's not as many jobs, which we all know. That could be putting some worry into the economy, although that will mean we're definitely getting more rate cuts. Let's look at this article. Bitcoin faces imminent $110,000 retest as U.S. dollar hits 3-week high. Bitcoin fell to new local lows on the back of the U.S. jobs data, joining stocks and gold in what analysis called an overdue correction. Bitcoin fell with stocks. So basically everything's down today, not just Bitcoin, although Bitcoin really didn't pump as nicely as gold and stocks over the last month. The U.S. dollar index reaches its highest level in 3 weeks as jobless claims come in below expectations. So it looks like a lot of people are basically just thinking 110 is probably going to be the low. I personally don't know. I've heard other people say possibly 105. I've heard people say 99. The fact of the matter is nobody really knows what's going to happen with Bitcoin in the short term. The one thing I've been saying is we have pretty much till the end of the year to get out of these markets, which still leaves us a good 3 months. Bitcoin can turn on the dime. We could be $110,000 tonight and $120,000 in 2 days. It's like, that's why you can't let these little dumps get you all worked up. There is some uncertainty in the markets right now, and that's most likely why we're dumping. Saw that BitBoy is back to making videos. I really haven't been paying attention, but I see he's back. And I was watching some of these BitBoy videos, and he looks really heavily medicated, so this might be good for him. I guess he lost his family, lost his girlfriend, and up on charges, and he's just basically making these really monotone, you can tell he's like on Prozac or something videos, and good for him for coming back. So we got BitBoy back making videos. Good to see. I saw that Benjamin Cohen was on this guy Dave Lin's channel. I like this guy Dave Lin. He's pretty cool. And they were just talking about when's alt season, what's going to be the cycle top, and I'm going to play a little bit of it. But Dave just kept asking Ben, like, what's the top going to be? Is it going to be 200? Is it going to be 150? Is it going to be 130? Have we already hit the top for Bitcoin? And Ben pretty much said what I've been saying for the last year. Ben pretty much just said, hey, look, if Bitcoin's $130,000 in December going into January, then that's the top. If Bitcoin's $180,000, that's the top. If Bitcoin's $150,000, that's the top. So basically he's pretty much saying we have to the end of the year, and that's what I've been saying. Whatever Bitcoin is at the end of the year, that's the top. It could be $1 million, it could be 150. We could have already hit it. Maybe we're going to do a double hit on it again, back up to 124. But as far as what Ben Cowan's pretty much saying, Bitcoin dominance is going to rise right now, which is actually happening. The money is going to flow back into Bitcoin, and then once Bitcoin makes it back up to like 120, then you're going to see the money flow into alts. I mean, we can play a little bit of it. I always find these two interesting.
Forget about all the other markets and all the other comparisons you can make. If it's going to play out how it's historically played out, then the expectation would be that first liquidity goes back into Bitcoin, and then after that, it has the opportunity to go back into alts. So if you're going to have an alt season, it probably won't happen until after the next Bitcoin dominance rally.
Got it. What is the Bitcoin cycle high for you? You said it might top out by the end of the year.
I mean, I think my guess is that it does not go above 200. I think that diminishing returns is very much a thing. 124 is kind of an interesting number because, which is where Bitcoin already went. The main reason it is and I don't know why I even noticed these things, but like I just remember in 2013, Bitcoin topped out at like 1.24K or so. Like it was right around 1.24K, I believe that high. Yeah, basically right around that level. But what's really interesting is in August of 2020. Bitcoin found a local top at 12.4K, right? And then, August 2025, 124K. So you could argue that the reason why it was the cycle top in 2013 was because it happened in Q4. In 2020, it did not happen in the fourth quarter. We had it, and it was also not even the post-halving year. So what I think is you'll likely have another move by Bitcoin to the upside. And I could see it topping anywhere from that 124, and it could go as high. I mean, it could go as high as close to 200. But I think it would be prudent to be aware that when you sort of measure these things from the lows, you would expect diminishing returns, right? You would expect diminishing returns. So I think the way I'm going to play this, David, is not to get married to any single price, because I feel like that is a great way to get wrecked when you sort of say like, all right, it's got to go this price. Because what essentially happens is if it doesn't make it there, everyone hates you, and if it does make it there, and then you say that's your top, and then it goes beyond it, everyone also hates you. So
Yeah, I agree with that. And getting married to a price is pretty much what gets everyone wrecked. That's why when people ask me on coins like Cardano, I'm just like, I might end up selling all my Cardano at $1. Maybe I'll sell it all at $2. Maybe it'll be $3. I really don't know. It really depends where Bitcoin is towards the end of the year. If Bitcoin's $130,000 and we're in December and Cardano's barely making it back up to $1, I might just sell everything I got. I might sell everything. And basically call it a day. And with my luck, once I do that, we'll go into a full-blown alt season. But nobody knows for sure what's going to happen with these markets. I think we're getting a nice alt season. I think we're probably going to get a $2 or $3 Cardano. I think a lot of these coins are going to do extremely well. I think Ethereum will probably get 8,000. Maybe Solana will get like a $500 or something like that. But nobody really knows. It really depends on Bitcoin, and it depends where Bitcoin is towards the end of this cycle. What we're seeing right now in Bitcoin is not weird. The only thing that's a little bit weird right now is a lot of these altcoins have not hit their previous cycle high yet. That probably should have happened within the last month or two. I mean, it really should have happened at some point in the end of the summer. Definitely now going into the fall, a lot of these altcoins should have hit their previous cycle high. Now, that doesn't really mean anything. Not everything happens exact. When you zoom out and look at the chart, it's like, okay, the altcoins did things a little bit different. They didn't hit their cycle highs until 3 months later than previous cycle. It really doesn't matter. But what it does do is it makes people nervous. It makes people nervous, and it makes people lose interest in these markets. But once money starts flowing back into these altcoins, people are going to come flowing right back in. It's going to happen fast. We're going to get 3-4 weeks of crazy price action, and then that's going to be it, guys. And then we're going right into a bear market multi-year. I have seen some cases or some interesting cases of people talking about, okay, the 4-year cycles are over. Maybe we'll have like a shortened bear market. I mean, I guess that's possible because of all the institutions coming into these markets. Is it possible we basically go into a bear market at the end of the year, and then this time next year we're coming out of it? It really is possible, because when you think back about the history of Bitcoin, Bitcoin's only been around for about 17 years. We have a couple cycles to look back on. That's really not enough history to basically say this is exactly what's going to happen. Like, okay, Bitcoin's been around for 17 years. If Bitcoin breaks the 4-year cycle, is it really that big of a deal? Okay, it did this same thing for 3 or 4 times, and then it basically didn't do it on the 5th time. That's really not that big of a deal. Now, yeah, if it'd been around for 1,000 years, and for 1,000 years straight we were doing the same thing, and then we broke it, that's a big deal. So the thing with Bitcoin is these 4-year cycles don't have to play exactly as they always do. These bear markets don't have to last as long as they do. We might not get like an FTX type crash, although I do think we are with like Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy. But the thing is, you just don't know. So yeah, I mean, maybe if we don't get our price levels by the end of the year, and you hold back into a bear market for another year, and you basically just keep accumulating. Maybe this time next year we go into a bull market again, or maybe we get a $3 Cardano in November. Then we dump for a whole year, and then we come back next year. But for me, I'm sticking to what I know. 4-year cycles, they haven't been broken yet. I think we're going to go into a multi-year bear market coming out of this year. I've always said it. I think MicroStrategy is going to crash. I think they're going to get liquidated. I think they're going to get margin called. I think a lot of these other companies in crypto are going to get margin called, and I think it's going to be a real disaster. And kind of spinning off into that, I saw that Rand Neuner was talking about Ethereum and Tom Lee, and just how Tom Lee is not really your in-the-middle guy anymore. He's basically an Ethereum salesman, which is true. And I'm a big fan of Tom Lee. I've been watching them since 2017. But you have to realize, guys like Tom Lee, they're just trying to pump their own bags. Now, you could say that Tom Lee was always trying to pump his own bags. Tom Lee's been in Bitcoin since 2017. He's always been pumping Bitcoin. But now the interesting thing with Tom Lee is now you see him dig into Ethereum because that's his fund. Now he's only pumping Ethereum. And this isn't like a knock on Tom Lee because everybody does it. Look, everybody in crypto who talks about a certain coin, they're pumping their own bags. When I talk about Cardano, I'm pumping my own bags. Like, I don't have a big audience, so it doesn't matter. But if I did have a big audience, that's why I'm talking about Cardano. I like it. I want it to pump. I'm pumping my own bags. Same with Theta and all these other coins. When Tom Lee talks about a coin, he's pumping his own bags. Why is Rand Neuner so into Solana? Why are 90% of Rand Neuner shows about Solana? And why is Rand Neuner mad at Tom Lee for pumping Ethereum so much? Well, Rand Neuner sold most of his Ethereum last year and put it into Solana. So now he's railing against Tom Lee because he doesn't want Tom Lee to be promoting Ethereum. He just wants Solana. So the problem is, though, a lot of these guys can't admit it. Like Rand Neuner will never admit, oh, I'm pumping my own bags. He basically just says, oh, I believe in this coin and that's why I'm talking about it. Well, he's doing it for the money, just like Tom Lee is pumping Ethereum for the money. So let's listen to a little bit of this.
Infrastructure and companies. I mean, come on. Again, a fundamental misunderstanding of value, he says. And he talks about how they accrue value. And then he talks about technical analysis. Now, I'm not going to go into technical analysis because if you show me a chart, I can show you how it goes down. I can show you how it goes up. I can show you that. But I do think that we do need to be careful not to get caught up in the hype because someone who was once a contributor, an optimistic contributor, is now invested in the book. And in order to make his company look good, he has to talk highly about ETH. And so that's all I wanted to point out. I wanted to point out to you that it's not that black and white. That you can't just listen to everything he says. A lot of people have been saying, yeah, but Tom Lee. Yeah, I get it. But he is talking his book, guys. I mean, you have to face it. He's no longer the uninvested, completely impartial, credible source of information because now he is actually talking his book. Anyway, remember, guys, I didn't say, because, Tom Lee and I go back quite a long way. I didn't say that he's retarded. Or he's...
Anyway, and I think we all know that, but sometimes we forget that if somebody's talking about a certain coin, guaranteed 99.99% of the time, they own that coin. They're trying to pump that coin. Rand Neuner wants to pump his Solana. Tom Lee wants to pump his Ethereum. I want my Cardano to pump, or whatever it is. Who's ever out there, whatever coin they're behind, it means they probably own a lot of that coin. So I'm still a big believer in Tom Lee. I don't think Ethereum is going to do what Tom Lee says. I don't think even the all-powerful Tom Lee, I don't think he's going to be able to pump Ethereum to like these $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 price levels like he's been hinting at. I just don't think it's possible. He might be able to get Ethereum to pump to like $8,000 or $10,000 for sure, but and you have to also give Tom Lee credit. He revived Ethereum. Ethereum was dead. Nobody was talking about it. Everybody was selling their Ethereum bags. Even major YouTubers were making announcements. Lark Davis, Rand Neuner. There's like a whole list of them. They all basically announced about 8 months ago, I'm selling my Ethereum. They all sold. And Tom Lee, I think, saw this. Okay, everybody's selling their Ethereum. Let's go heavy into this Ethereum, and I'm going to get my fucking ass on CNBC every day and pump the fuck out of Ethereum. And he brought Ethereum from like what, $1,500, $2,000, all the way up to $5,000. And that's all because of him. If it wasn't for Tom Lee right now, we'd probably be at like a $2,500 Ethereum. So it definitely matters having these big guys pumping your projects. But I just don't think, even with all the power of Tom Lee, that he's gonna take Ethereum much past $8,000 to $10,000. But even so, that's still pretty remarkable if he can do that. All right, guys, let me see if there's anything else I'm missing. I mean, it's just kind of one of those boring weeks. Bitcoin's down, everything's down. Here's CNBC right here. Jobless claims tumble to 218,000, well below estimate despite fears of labor market weakness. It's funny. I was talking about how bad the job market was, and because as you guys know, I have a security detective agency, and I would always get like these. I haven't applied for a job in years because I have this pretty good contract with a police department where I do all their new applicant background investigations. And then I have a bunch of other stuff I do as well, like part-time security work and stuff like that. But I would always get like all these messages on LinkedIn. Would you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And I basically said, I wasn't getting any messages on LinkedIn for like jobs lately. But it turned out I had that notification off, like a privacy setting where nobody could even see my profile. I turned that back on, and lo and behold, I got 3 job offers last week. It's like, so yeah, it really depends on the market. If you're in the security industry, it's booming right now. Not booming, but like there's definitely jobs to be had. Pretty good paying jobs, $25, $30 an hour jobs. But it seems like all these people got into like tech, computer jobs, some of these retail jobs. They're slumpy. But if you got into like nursing, medical stuff, law enforcement, security, investigative work, it seems like if you're like a plumber, electrician, carpenter, like all these jobs are like, you can easily get a job. It seems like the people who are not finding jobs right now are mainly in the tech because way too many people went into tech. And then you also have those people who got like history degrees, and then they wonder why they can't get a job at like a business place or something like that. Like there's a lot of people out there with like BS degrees. Like you need to have a specialized degree. Like me, it's all you do security work or you're an investigator. That's it. There's no in between there. Like we can't have you you're not going to be fixing the air conditioning in between doing your security gig, Mike. No, it's like security investigator. But a lot of these people with non-specific degrees, I think you guys are fucked. And I think you guys made a really big mistake. And I don't know what you're going to do about those student loans, but heck, if I were you, I would try to get a trade or something like that because there are a lot of jobs out there. It's just way too many people got BS degrees. And that is affecting the job market. The job market is not good right now because of those people who can't find a job. So that will give us, definitely we're going to have a lot of interest rates, I think, before the end of the year. Then, of course, next year we have Jerome Powell leaving, and Trump's going to put his guy in who's going to basically do nonstop interest rates, which will eventually probably crash the economy if you just basically keep cutting the interest rates. But for the short term, it should be pretty good for our investments and for crypto. All right. I'm not missing anything. That's pretty much it. I mean, what's going to happen with Bitcoin? I don't know, guys. I mean, I would think 105 would probably be the lowest we would go. Maybe like a flash crash down to 105. I sold my trading bag of Cardano at 93 fucking cents. Like, is that genius? I know it's all luck. It's all luck. And I did not buy back in yet. So if I can buy back in, if you guys watched my video from last week, I said I'm not trading these markets because I was smart. I've been in these markets long enough to know it was not worth getting in last week. There's too much volatility. There's too much craziness. I told you guys a lot of whales are going to be looking to crash these markets. So I did not get back in with my trading bag of Cardano. And that's all documented. You can watch my videos. If I can get Cardano for like 70 cents, 75 cents, 68 cents, I'll totally buy Cardano. That'll be an easy 100% on my money if I can get Cardano at like, even if we don't get to $2 Cardano, we're definitely getting $1 Cardano. So if I can buy back in on my trading bag at 65, 70 cents, wow. So I'm starting to get back into that. The interest of trading is coming back. I'm glad I sat out of the market last week. And that's pretty much it, guys. If you're holding, just hold. Don't let these dumps scare you out. Overall, the economy is looking pretty good except for the job market. We're going to get those rate cuts. And this is just kind of a temporary blip. You know, we've seen it before. I don't want to that's why I don't make a lot of videos anymore. Like, we pump one day, we dump the next day, we pump, we dump. It's like, this is crypto. This is how it goes. When Bitcoin decides to take off and go into alt season and make another high, then you got to play the market. We can't pretend we know when it's going to happen. Technically, it has to happen by the end of the year. Maybe it'll get dragged out a little bit. I don't think it will. I think between now and the end of next month, we're going to be seeing a lot of these altcoins getting back to their previous all-time highs. That's my personal opinion. I could be wrong. All right, guys, like and subscribe. Talk to you later.